In the winter of 2014, in a quiet corner of Vermont, a man died. He was 82 years old. His name was Ronald James Reed. And when the lawyers opened his estate documents, the entire town stopped breathing. $12 million. $12 million. This was the home of a man who wore the same flannel coat for 25 years. A man who fixed his jacket with safety pins rather than buy a new one. A man who drove the same 2007 Toyota Yaris until the odometer simply gave up. His neighbors thought he was struggling. Some quietly left groceries on his porch during the holidays, an act of charity for a man they believed had nothing. They had no idea. They had absolutely no idea. Today, we're going to tell you the extraordinary true story of Ronald Reed and others like him. Ordinary people who mastered an art form that most of us have never even heard of. The art of invisible wealth. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly how they did it. The mathematics, the psychology, the daily habits that seem insignificant but compound into fortunes. And perhaps most importantly, you'll understand why they chose to live this way. Not out of deprivation, but out of freedom. To understand Ronald Reed, you need to understand the world that made him. He was born on October 23, 1921, in a tiny farming community called Dummerston, Vermont. The population was barely 1,000 souls. Everyone knew everyone. Secrets didn't exist, or so people thought. His family was poor, not romantically poor, not character-building poor, genuinely, achingly poor. His father worked whatever jobs the land would give. His mother stretched every meal until the pot was empty. In 1921, the average American family earned about $3,269 per year. A loaf of bread cost 9 cents. A gallon of milk, 35 cents. A new car, if you could even dream of owning one, was around $400.
But for the Reeds, even these modest prices felt like mountains. Ronald was the first person in his entire family to graduate from high school. The first. This was not a small achievement. In 1940, only 24% of Americans completed high school. For a farm boy from rural Vermont, this diploma was a declaration of war against circumstance. But life, as it often does, had other plans. World War II called, and Ronald answered. He served in North Africa, Italy, and the Pacific Theater. He repaired vehicles. He kept things running when everything around him was falling apart. He learned something in those years that would shape the rest of his life. Maintenance is cheaper than replacement. Fix what you have. Care for your tools. Never throw away something that still works. These weren't just lessons about machines. They were lessons about life. When the war ended, Ronald came home to a changed America. The economy was booming. Factories that had built tanks now built refrigerators. Suburbs sprouted like wildflowers. The American dream was being advertised on every radio station, every billboard, every magazine cover. Buy now, pay later. You deserve it. This was the message of post-war America. But Ronald Reed wasn't listening. He got a job at a gas station in Brattleboro, Vermont. He pumped gas. He checked oil. He cleaned windshields. He did this for 25 years. 25 years at the same gas station. Then he retired, briefly, and took another job as a janitor at JCPenney. He swept floors. He emptied trash cans. He replaced light bulbs. And every 2 weeks, when his modest paycheck arrived, he did something that would eventually make him a millionaire. He invested. Not in exotic investments, not in cryptocurrency or venture capital or things he didn't understand. He bought shares in companies he knew, companies he saw every day, companies whose products he used, whose trucks he watched roll by on the highway.
Coca-Cola, Johnson & Johnson, Procter & Gamble, CVS. He bought a few shares at a time. Sometimes just 1 or 2. He held them. He reinvested every dividend. He never sold. And then, he waited. For decades. Now, you might be thinking, this sounds simple. Buy stocks, hold them, get rich. But here's what the simple version of this story leaves out. The decades of temptation. The social pressure. The moments when giving up seemed like the only rational choice. In the 1970s, America experienced an economic crisis. Inflation reached 14%. Gas prices quadrupled. The stock market lost nearly half its value. Ronald's portfolio, which he had carefully built over 20 years, dropped by almost 50%. Think about this for a moment. You've been saving for 2 decades. You've been sacrificing, driving the same car, wearing the same clothes, eating simple meals. And suddenly, half of everything you've built evaporates. What would you do? Most people panicked. They sold. They locked in their losses and swore they'd never invest again. Ronald Reed kept buying. He saw prices falling not as a disaster, but as a sale. The same companies, the same products, the same dividends, just cheaper. This was the turning point. Not a single dramatic moment, but a quiet decision repeated over and over again. The decision to keep going when everyone else was running away. But the struggles weren't only financial. There was loneliness. Ronald's first wife passed away. He remarried later in life, but he knew loss intimately. He knew the silence that fills a house when someone you love is no longer there. And yet, even in grief, he maintained his habits. Not because he was cold, not because he didn't feel, but because structure was his anchor. Routine was his salvation. He also faced something perhaps even more challenging than grief or market crashes. He faced judgment.
People thought he was poor. People felt sorry for him. Some even mocked him, quietly, of course, behind the polite facade of small-town courtesy. That old man at the gas station, wearing the same clothes every day, such a shame. Did you see his truck? Must be 30 years old. Someone should help him. They didn't understand that the truck ran perfectly because he maintained it himself. They didn't understand that his clothes were clean, mended, and perfectly functional because he saw no reason to replace things that still worked. They didn't understand that behind his modest appearance was a portfolio growing larger every single year. Ronald never corrected them. He never said, "Actually, I'm worth more than most of you combined." He simply smiled, nodded, went about his day. And this is what separates the quietly wealthy from everyone else. The ability to find peace in being underestimated. The freedom that comes from not needing anyone's approval. The deep understanding that wealth is not about showing, it's about having. Now let's talk about the mechanics. Because Ronald Reed's wealth wasn't magic, it was mathematics. Patient, boring, powerful mathematics. Let's break it down. Ronald started investing around 1945 after returning from the war. He continued until his death in 2014. That's roughly 69 years of consistent investing. Let's be conservative and assume he invested just $300 per month, a number achievable even on a gas station attendant's salary, especially as years passed and his income grew slightly. $300 per month, invested in the S&P 500, with an average annual return of around 10%, which is the historical average, would grow to approximately $12 million. This is the power of compound interest. Albert Einstein allegedly called it the eighth wonder of the world. Whether he actually said that or not, the principle remains unchanged.
Your money makes money. That money makes more money. And that money makes even more money. But here's what made Ronald different from other investors. Secret number 1, he almost never sold. Ronald's portfolio contained over 90 different stocks at the time of his death. Some had been held for over 40 years. When you hold stocks for decades, you avoid capital gains taxes, you avoid transaction fees, you avoid the emotional trap of buying high and selling low. You simply let time do its work. Secret number 2. He reinvested every dividend. Dividends are the quiet engine of wealth building. When you receive a dividend payment and use it to buy more shares, those new shares produce their own dividends, and those dividends buy more shares, and so on. This is called a DRIP, a dividend reinvestment plan. Ronald used this religiously. Let's look at a real example. If you had invested $10,000 in Johnson & Johnson in 1980 and reinvested all dividends, by 2014, that investment would be worth over $900,000. Ronald owned Johnson & Johnson for decades. Secret number 3. He lived far below his means. This is perhaps the most important secret and the one most people refuse to accept. Ronald's salary as a gas station attendant and janitor was never particularly high. Some estimates suggest he earned around $40,000 per year at his peak, a respectable but unremarkable income. But he spent perhaps $15,000 to $20,000 per year. The gap between what he earned and what he spent was his wealth-building engine. Every dollar saved was a dollar invested. Every dollar invested was a soldier working for him, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for the rest of his life. Secret number 4. He invested in what he understood. Ronald didn't chase hot stocks or follow market gurus. He invested in companies whose products he saw every single day.
When he filled cars with gas, he watched which oil company's trucks made deliveries. When he swept floors at JCPenney, he noticed which products flew off the shelves. He invested in boring. He invested in predictable. He invested in forever. Secret number 5. He ignored the noise. Every decade brought a new crisis. The Cuban Missile Crisis, Vietnam, Watergate, the 1987 crash, the dot-com bubble, the 2008 financial crisis. Through all of it, Ronald kept investing. He didn't watch financial news channels. He didn't read predictions about where the market was heading. He didn't try to time his investments. He simply bought good companies and held them. This is perhaps the hardest secret to follow. Because we are bombarded with urgency. Every headline screams that something is about to change, that we must act now, that this time is different. It never is. The market goes up, the market goes down. Over decades, it trends upward. Ronald understood this in his bones, and he acted accordingly. Ronald James Reed passed away peacefully on June 2, 2014. He was 92 years old. His funeral was modest. His neighbors attended, the same neighbors who had left groceries on his porch, the same neighbors who had quietly pitied him for decades. They spoke of his kindness, his patience, his willingness to help anyone who asked. They did not speak of money, because they assumed there was none to speak of. And then the estate was opened. $12,007,432. The town was in shock. Reporters arrived. National news picked up the story. The janitor millionaire. The gas station sage. Everyone wanted to know, how was this possible? But here's what truly defines Ronald Reed's legacy. It wasn't the money. It was what he did with it. Ronald left $4.8 million to the Brattleboro Memorial Hospital, the hospital where he had received care, the hospital that served his community. He left $1.2 million to the Brooks Memorial Library, the library where he had educated himself, where he had read every book he could find about companies and investing and the world beyond his small town. The man who wore safety pins on his jacket left millions to heal the sick and educate the young. This is the deepest lesson. Stealth wealth isn't about hoarding. It isn't about watching numbers grow for the sake of numbers. It's about freedom, the freedom to live on your own terms, the freedom to give generously without fanfare, the freedom to make choices based on values, not appearances. Ronald wasn't poor. Ronald was free. He was free from debt, free from the pressure to impress, free from the endless treadmill of consumption that traps so many of us. And he used that freedom to live exactly the life he wanted to live. A quiet life, a useful life, a generous life. His stepchildren discovered closets full of stock certificates, dividend statements, and meticulous records going back decades. Every purchase documented, every dividend tracked.
One of them later said, "We had no idea. He never talked about it. He just lived his life." And perhaps that's the most remarkable thing of all. He had $12 million, and he never felt the need to tell anyone, because he knew something that most wealthy people never learn. True wealth is measured by how little you need, not how much you have. So what can we learn from Ronald Read? Let's distill it down to the lessons that matter. Lesson 1. Start early, but it's never too late. Ronald benefited from nearly 7 decades of compounding. The earlier you start, the more time works in your favor. But even if you're starting late, every year of consistent investing adds to your future. Lesson 2. Consistency beats intensity.
Ronald didn't make brilliant stock picks. He didn't time the market perfectly. He simply invested consistently, month after month, decade after decade. Small, regular actions compound into extraordinary results. Lesson 3. Live below your means, dramatically. The gap between what you earn and what you spend is where wealth is built. Ronald understood that every dollar saved was a dollar that could work for him forever. Lesson 4. Ignore the noise. The financial media wants your attention. Panic generates clicks. But the wealthy, the quietly wealthy, tune it out. They focus on decades, not days. Lesson 5. Wealth isn't about appearance, it's about options. Ronald could have bought a bigger house, a nicer car, expensive clothes. He chose not to. Not because he couldn't afford them, but because he didn't need them. His wealth gave him options, freedom, peace. Lesson 6. Generosity is the highest use of wealth. Ronald's millions didn't die with him. They continue to heal the sick and educate the young. Stealth wealth at its best becomes stealth generosity, changing lives without seeking credit. Now, I want to speak directly to you. Whether you're watching this at 25 or 75, whether you have thousands saved or are starting from zero, the principles remain the same. You don't need to be brilliant. You don't need to be lucky. You need to be patient, consistent, disciplined. The financial industry wants you to believe that wealth is complicated, that you need special knowledge, special access, special tools. Ronald Read proved that wrong. A gas station attendant and a janitor, with nothing but patience and public stocks, built a fortune that most CEOs would envy. And he did it so quietly that no one noticed until he was gone. If this story moved you, if you want more stories of quiet wisdom and hidden wealth, then join us. Subscribe to The Quiet Rich.
We tell the stories that the world overlooks. The millionaires next door. The fortunes built in silence. The wisdom that doesn't shout, but whispers. And before you go, we'd love to hear from you. Where are you watching from today? And do you remember prices from Ronald's era? A 9-cent loaf of bread? A 35-cent gallon of milk? A $400 car? Let us know in the comments. Tell us your story. We read every single one. Ronald Read never sought recognition. He never asked for applause. He simply lived according to his values, day after day, until his final breath. And in doing so, he left behind something far more valuable than $12 million. He left behind proof. Proof that the quiet path works. Proof that you don't have to be flashy to be wealthy. Proof that the most powerful wealth is the wealth no one sees. Rest in peace, Ronald Read, and thank you for showing us the way.